All right, let's get into it. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on something you literally use every single day: text on a screen. We're talking about strings, which are the absolute foundation for how computers understand and work with words. It's going to be fun. Let's dive in.
I mean, seriously, have you ever stopped to think about that? How does your favorite game greet you by your username? How does your phone know who you are? A computer just thinks in numbers, right? So how on earth does it get its head around human language?
Well, the answer is this beautifully simple idea called a string. That's the programmer term for basically any sequence of characters all strung together. So the word hello, your email address, even something like 123 Main Street, to a computer, they're all just strings. It's the secret code behind every piece of text you see.
Okay, so we know what a string is, but what can we actually do with them? Well, it turns out we have this awesome little toolkit to work with text. So let's start with the most fundamental tools: how to measure them and how to change them.
First up, length. This one's about as simple as it gets. It just counts how many characters are in a string. So for our word hello, the code just goes HELLO. Yep, that's 5. And a key thing to remember here is that it counts everything, including spaces. So what? Who cares how long a string is? Well, you do every single day. You know when a website says your password has to be at least 8 characters long? That's it. That's just a little piece of code checking the length of the string you typed in. It's a super simple but absolutely vital security check.
Next in our kit, we've got changing case. This is so handy. With a simple command, we can just tell the program, hey, make this whole string uppercase or make it all lowercase. You can see right here how hello instantly becomes hello or hello.
And this is why that matters so much. See, computers are extremely literal. To a computer, Sam with a capital S and Sam with a lowercase s are two totally different things. So if we're checking a username, we first convert whatever the user typed to all lowercase. That way our code is smart enough to know they're the same person. It makes everything work so much better.
All right, so we can measure strings, and we can change their case. Now let's get a little more surgical. It's time to see how we can grab just the pieces of a string that we want. Think of it like slicing and dicing your text.
The easiest way to do this is with left and right. They do exactly what you think they do. Word.left of 2 says, hey, give me the first 2 characters, and you get he. And word.right of 3 says, okay, now give me the last 3, and you get low. Simple as that.
And you see this kind of thing everywhere. When your messaging app shows you just the beginning of a long text, that's probably a left operation. And when your banking app shows you a credit card ending in, 1234, that's a right operation. Super useful stuff.
But what if the piece you need isn't at the beginning or the end? What if it's slapped right in the middle? For that, we need to bring out the big guns. The most powerful, most flexible tool in our slicing kit, the substring. This lets us grab text from absolutely anywhere. So check out this code. We're asking for a substring from hello, starting at position 1, and we want 2 characters. The result is il. Now, hold on a second. You're probably thinking, wait, isn't H the first character? Shouldn't position 1 be H? And if you're asking that, you're on the verge of a huge breakthrough. Because to understand this, you need to learn the #1 rule of how programmers count.
And here it is. This is a core concept in all of coding. It's called zero indexing. We humans start counting at 1, but computers, they always start at 0. Just think of the index as how many steps you take from the very beginning. To get to the first letter, H, you take 0 steps, so it's at index 0. To get to E, you take 1 step, so it's at index 1. It feels weird at first, but you'll get used to it fast.
Okay, so let's go back and crack that code now that we know the secret. Substring 1, 2 means, step 1, go to index position 1, and what's there? The E, right. Step 2, grab 2 characters starting from that spot. So we take the E and the next one, which is L. And what do we get? L. See? Once you get that start at 0 rule in your head, it all just clicks into place.
The last tool we'll look at is concatenation. It's a really fancy word for something super simple, just joining strings together. In a lot of programming languages, you just use a plus sign. So Sam plus space plus Jones becomes Sam Jones. The one thing you got to remember is that the computer won't add a space for you. You have to literally add a string that is just a space in the middle.
So that's our basic toolkit. We can measure them, change them, slice them, and join them. But the real magic, the real power, comes when we start combining these tools to solve actual problems. So let's put it all together and look at a real-world example.
So let's imagine you're writing a program, and you need to ask the user a simple yes or no question. This is one of the most common things you'll ever do in coding. But how do you make sure your program can actually understand what the user types back?
Well, here's a little bit of code that shows the basic idea. First, this input part just grabs whatever the user typed and saves it. But then, look at the next line. This is the clever bit. We don't just check if the answer is yes. We check if the lowercase version of the answer is yes. It's a simple move, but it's incredibly powerful. And that's the big payoff. Because we did that, our program is now way more robust. We don't care if the user types yes, or yes, or yes, or even some crazy mix like yes. In every single one of those cases, our code turns it into yes before it checks. This whole process is called validation, and it's what separates clumsy software from really great user-friendly stuff. Whew! Okay, we've gone through a lot, pretty quickly. We've seen what strings are, and filled up our toolkit for working with them. So before we wrap this up, let's just do a quick recap of the absolute golden rules you've got to remember.
Here are the big 3 takeaways. Number 1, and I cannot say this enough, computers start counting at 0, so string positions are 0 indexed. Got it? Good. Number 2, when you use things like substring or left, you're not changing the original string, you're creating a brand new one. And finally, number 3, as we just saw, these tools become 1,000 times more useful when you combine them with logic, like an if statement, to do things like validation.
And there you have it. From password checks to making sense of what we type, strings are the absolute workhorses that let computers speak our language. You've now got the basic toolkit, so my question to you is, what's the first thing you'd want to build with it? Thanks for tuning in.